If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
The behind-the-scenes drama surrounding the highly anticipated live-action Snow White remake has taken a dramatic turn, with Gal Gadot reportedly firing shots at her co-star Rachel Zegler amid growing tensions. What was originally expected to be just another Disney blockbuster has now transformed into a storm of controversy, with both stars caught up in a tangled web of personal beliefs, public comments, and a mounting public backlash. But what exactly happened to spark this drama, and what's at the center of it all? It all started innocently enough. Disney released the first teaser trailer for Snow White back in August, and although it gained more than 120 million views in just 24 hours, the reception was far from positive. Fans quickly took to social media to express their displeasure, especially when it came to the casting of Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. The decision to cast Zegler, a relative newcomer in Hollywood, as Snow White was met with skepticism. Some fans questioned whether Zegler fit the traditional image of the character, and others doubted her ability to embody the role. Still, Disney pushed ahead, confident in its reimagining of the classic fairy tale. Zegler, who had been facing criticism since the casting announcement, took to Twitter to thank her supporters and share some positivity during what was undoubtedly a tough time. But then, things took a sharp turn. In a follow-up tweet, Zegler shared a message that would quickly ignite a firestorm of controversy: "Always remember, free Palestine." While it's her right to voice her personal beliefs, Zegler's comment came at a highly sensitive moment. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which had been escalating in the real world, was now being injected into the Snow White promotional tour. The backlash was swift, especially from Jewish fans of Disney and the film. Many were outraged by Zegler's remarks, feeling that they were inappropriate and divisive, particularly given the context of the film's release. Enter Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress and former soldier, whose background and personal connection to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict set the stage for what would become a tense clash. Gadot, who has previously spoken out in support of Israel, responded to the controversy in a way that seemed aimed directly at Zegler. While Gadot didn't directly mention her co-star by name, she posted an Instagram story featuring a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. about love and light driving out darkness. The message seemed to stand in stark contrast to the more politically charged narrative that Zegler had introduced with her tweet. Gadot's response, though subtle, was unmistakable. She was advocating for peace and positivity rather than engaging in the divisive rhetoric that had erupted in the wake of Zegler's post. But it didn't end there. Gadot's indirect response quickly escalated, as she retweeted a post calling out those who campaign on the head of your co-star who actually lives through war. The tweet, which was clearly a dig at Zegler, accused her of using a deeply personal conflict for clout. Gadot was making it clear that she didn't approve of Zegler's timing or the political commentary during a press tour for a Disney movie. And as the drama continued to unfold, it was becoming clear that tensions between the two were growing, both on and off the screen. The public appearance at Disney's D23 event only added fuel to the fire. Fans were quick to analyze the interactions between Gadot and Zegler when they were both on stage together promoting the film. While Gadot seemed warm and friendly, even putting her arm around Zegler in what appeared to be a show of solidarity, Zegler's body language spoke volumes. She appeared uncomfortable and distant, not entirely engaged in the moment. The photo op, which was meant to generate excitement for the movie, instead became a symbol of the growing divide between the two stars. This behind-the-scenes feud wasn't just limited to political disagreements. Rachel Zegler's behavior and comments off-screen were also stirring up controversy. One of the most eyebrow-raising statements came when Zegler made a remark about her compensation for playing the role of Snow White. "If I'm going to stand in a dress for 18 hours as an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour it's streamed online," she said. The comment, which sounded more like an entitlement rant than an expression of gratitude, did not sit well with many people. Some found it distasteful, especially given that Zegler's career was just beginning. She was reportedly paid $2 million for her role in the film, which is a considerable sum, especially for an actress who had yet to achieve widespread fame. Yet, her demand for additional payments based on streaming seemed, to many, to be an overreach. Zegler's comments didn't help her cause either. Her words rubbed fans the wrong way, and they quickly took to social media to express their disdain. The backlash didn't stop there. The choice of Zegler as Snow White had already raised eyebrows, but her offhand remarks about the original Snow White story only deepened the controversy. Zegler seemed to take issue with much of the classic tale, particularly the portrayal of the prince. In interviews, she referred to the prince as a creepy guy who stalks Snow White, suggesting that the romance aspect of the story was problematic in modern times. Instead of embracing the fairy tale's traditional themes of love and sacrifice, Zegler appeared intent on flipping the narrative in a way that some saw as unnecessarily revisionist. The Snow White character in the new film was being reimagined as a modern, empowered young woman who was less concerned with finding true love and more focused on ruling a kingdom and achieving personal power. This new version of Snow White, according to Zegler, had no time for romance or the fairy tale tropes of old. This transformation of Snow White into a feminist icon seemed to be a deliberate effort to modernize the story, but it came at the cost of the beloved aspects that had made the original film a classic. The reimagining of the prince was just as controversial. There was no traditional Prince Charming in this version of the story. Instead, Andrew Burnap was cast as a mysterious figure whose role seemed to be more of a footnote than a major character. Gone was the romantic hero of the classic tale, replaced by a more ambiguous figure who didn't seem to have much impact on Snow White's journey. For many fans, this represented a complete departure from what made the original Snow White so magical. It wasn't just about Snow White's beauty, it was about the connection she shared with the prince and the idea that love and sacrifice could overcome evil. But Zegler's portrayal of Snow White wasn't just a departure from the character's romantic storyline. Her performance was marked by a shift in attitude and behavior, especially in the scenes involving the dwarfs. In the original animated film, Snow White was depicted as kind, nurturing, and selfless. She cleaned the dwarfs' cottage out of the goodness of her heart, earning her place among them. But in the new film, Zegler's Snow White arrives at the dwarfs' cottage with a much more commanding presence, ordering them to clean up their own messes while she supervises from the sidelines. This change, while perhaps intended to reflect modern feminist values, left some fans wondering whether it undermined the core values of Snow White's character. Where was the kindness? The humility? As Disney continued to push forward with its plans for the live-action remake, it became clear that the film's success would be anything but guaranteed. With the growing tension between Zegler and Gadot, mounting backlash over the film's creative decisions, and a sizable delay in the movie's release, it seemed as if Snow White was headed for a PR disaster. Disney had pushed the release date back by a year, ostensibly due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, but many speculated that the studio needed extra time to address mounting concerns and fix significant issues with the film. The CGI dwarfs, which had been heavily criticized in leaked set photos, were just one example of the film's growing list of problems. Instead of casting real actors with dwarfism, Disney chose to use digital creations, which many fans felt was a missed opportunity for true inclusivity. The budget for Snow White had already ballooned to a staggering $330 million, making it one of the most expensive films ever made. This figure didn't even include marketing costs, which would add millions more to the total. Financially, the movie was already in trouble. To break even, Snow White would need to earn at least $900 million at the global box office, if not more. Given the overwhelmingly negative response to the trailer and the lackluster buzz surrounding the project, it seemed like a tall order. As Disney prepares for the film's release, the drama surrounding the cast, the controversial creative choices, and the mounting pressure to salvage the film's reputation show no signs of easing. The Snow White remake, once hailed as a potential box office smash, now stands on the precipice of disaster. Will the film manage to turn things around? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter in Disney's troubled history of live-action remakes? Only time will tell.